welcome to one and all. A fantastic first half to the Swindon and Wiltshire Local Enterprise Partnership Annual Conference, Doing Business Brilliantly. I've been given about 15 minutes just to talk about exactly that theme. So if you will, let me take you on a journey. It's 2 or 3 a.m., nearly 11,000 years ago. The sun is coming up over the horizon. It's frosty on the Wiltshire grass. The dew is just starting to form, and you're walking across the plain with your family. And you look around and you think, Wiltshire, what a great place to be based. And you sit down. And 11,000 years ago, you form a settlement. And that settlement today, the settlement of Amesbury, is still around today as the United Kingdom's most continuous settlement. So with lots of love and much admiration stretching back to that family 11,000 years ago that decided to base their family, their hopes and aspirations on what was just a piece of land. Fields didn't exist as we understand them today. And they had a tremendous sense of place that is still there today and is still attracting interest from around the world. And so we look to that family and we say, we need to build our place. And we are all trying to do business brilliantly to improve our lives, to improve the lives of our family, and to improve the lives of people around us. And so what does doing business brilliantly mean? Well, if a brand has lasted 11,000 years, I suspect that they've done business brilliantly. But of course, nowadays, we have a much firmer grasp on what place is. And place is an area to base your life, to build your family, build your business, to be successful. Doing business brilliantly is usually judged by the standards of the day, and then historically we look back and learn from the successes and the mistakes. But when you're judging yourself as, are you doing business brilliantly today, you're doing it by the standards of today. And the standards of today, we have the ability to work together, to build our regulations that we all live and breathe by, but also to put regulations in place that allows us to innovate. A society that doesn't innovate, that doesn't evolve, doesn't progress, is a society doomed ultimately to cease to exist. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't learn the lessons of sustainability from those forefathers all those years ago. If we come to Sam Knowles talking about data and the insights data can give, and if you forgive me, I'll just skip a few millennia in the interest of time, we come to the Doomsday or the Domesday book that was presented in Old Sarum well over 1,000 years ago. And for the first time, that gave the government of England the ability to see our resources, our economy, where our settlements were, how many people were there, where our clay pits were, our tin mines. This had all been known locally, known regionally, but as a nation, there was no real comprehensive records until that book exists. And from there, we started building our economy in what we'd understand as the modern world. We make sales, we buy things, we have purchases, we pay our taxes. But that data is still giving us insights today. Nowadays, we have literally billions of pieces of data on an hourly basis that we have to try and analyze. And we have some of the most innovative companies in the entire United Kingdom based here in Swindon and Wiltshire. And those innovative companies are using data to help us achieve some of our aims during the climate emergency, but also to improve the skills of our workforce, the health of our population, and the business productivity, whether it be using automation to do more in the same time frame to get things like vaccinations out that would have taken decades previously, or whether it be looking at how we transport ourselves and how can we improve the way we transport ourselves from our homes to our work, and do that efficiently and at a reasonable cost. And Swindon and Wiltshire, that sense of place from all those thousands of years ago is still strong today. People are very fiercely proud of where they live and where they work. And so they engage themselves in things like planning decisions. And we as the Swindon and Wiltshire Local Enterprise Partnership have a role to play in getting all those voices into a room and coming to a final agreed decision. And one of the decisions we have to take as far as place goes in the next decade is, what does the shape of our local government look like? Our local government across the nation is under pressure, both from resources and from finance. And have we got the right structures in place? And do we as a population, a business population, do we wish to see local government organised in a certain way? And you'll be seeing this conversation about devolution is literally a conversation about pride of place. How would we like to organise ourselves, get the rules and regulations of business in place to the common good? I want to touch on our fantastic people, if I may. And the most important people on this call right now are you, individuals. You know yourselves as business people that you have had your plans, that you have shed tears for the failures, and you've shed tears for the successes. And so just pause for a minute, everybody on this call. Give yourself a huge pat on the back, because you are doing business brilliantly. But the fact that we as humans reach out, we form partnerships, we form business alliances, we have customers and suppliers, we have our trade associations, we come together as a community. And you have come together as the Swindon and Wiltshire Local Enterprise Partnership to work out our strategy, to work out our priorities, and to get on and deliver them. And you have made Swindon and Wiltshire an attractive place from a skills perspective for businesses across the world who continue to make inquiries about investing in our region. But you've also reached out to our fellow local regions, mostly or most successfully with the Western Gateway. The Western Gateway is a pan-regional partnership stretching from Swansea to Swindon, from below Bath to above Gloucester. Every local authority, businesses small and large, coming together as a partnership to say, what is our priority? To do it without a political bent, to say this is what we'd like to see in our region. We have 4 million people. Swindon and Wiltshire is 750,000 people. We have a tremendous voice to play in the shaping of the policies and the future of the Western Gateway Pan-Regional Partnership. Many businesses I meet, whether it be a farmer looking to see how he could make just a little bit more margin on the animals that he farms, how can he give animal health a little bit better, to the big multinationals who are looking for us to build more houses, to have more workers so they can expand their global footprint right here in Swindon and Wiltshire. There is one theme, and that is evolution. And if I ask them what doing business brilliantly means, it means evolution, making sure that we are educating our young people, not only in our economy of today, but in the economy of the future, which is much harder to crystal ball. They are saying that we must have continuous lifelong learning, and our universities within the partnership are constantly looking at how to shape the people of today with the skills of tomorrow. Our businesses look for regulation, whether it be health and safety, product regulation, or just being able to innovate and not be stifled by regulation. And the Local Enterprise Partnership is doing some good work on things like building the hydrogen economy, which I personally believe will be so important to all of us across Swindon and Wiltshire in the not too distant future. And the challenges of energy security are in every day in the news right now. But we in Swindon and Wiltshire have a problem connecting to those energy resources. We have a problem connecting to the water resources. And we have a problem making sure that there are enough houses and enough business premises that people can start to grow and do business brilliantly. And the Local Enterprise Partnership welcomes voices from all across our community to make sure that we feed up to government a coherent strategy for solving those resource problems. But of course, we're all aware that it's very easy in business to profit. And if I ask different people what profit means, some people will tell me pure, cold, hard cash. But to me, profit is much more than that. Profit is about the growth of every person in our borders. Profit is about building a more successful, secure place in the world. And therefore, we're very grateful to all those businesses with their environmental and social policies that are spending money in our environment, improving our environment. Whether that be moving towards net zero, investing in some of the schools and colleges, investing in our young people, or just maybe changing their business practices so that more people benefit and can lift themselves up towards their aspirations. The other thing that Swindon and Wiltshire is very good at, it has a fantastic history. In fact, across our region, the history of England and the United Kingdom is found all over, whether it be in Salisbury with the cathedrals and the Magna Carta, or it be in Swindon with the railway village and the aspiration that workers who may get injured in very heavy industry should be looked after by those employers. And we need to do more of that as society goes through dangerous times. We need to show that leadership. We need it to shine across everything we do. And I'm very grateful for everybody who's involved in the Local Enterprise Partnership, indeed has taken the time out of their busy days on this call to listen to all of the speakers about how we can do business brilliantly. It's not just about cold, hard cash. And then the final thing, if I may, to reach out is that we have a community made up of all sorts of different faiths, different backgrounds, people coming from all over the world, and most recently, of course, that our local government is trying to house people fleeing the desperately sad war in Ukraine. And so we are reaching out to the community and saying these people have come to our shores to take part in our economy. Let's welcome them with open arms. Let's give them a good start in life. So if you can assist us with that, I'm very grateful to the board directors from the voluntary sector who are helping us steer a path to welcome those new arrivals to our shores. I'm immensely grateful to the Army that are based in Wiltshire, who are doing tremendous things both in national defence, but also in passing skills on to our young people. And I was saddened to hear that the Army is looking at a shortfall for cadets this year. They may be as much as 40% down on last year. And the Army, the Air Force, the Navy can give our young people a good grounding. It doesn't mean they're going to join the forces. They are going to be our next life scientists based at Porton Down. They are going to be our next professors based at the universities. They are going to be our next businessmen, following the footsteps of people like Dyson. The cadet force is a brilliant way of getting hands-on experience in a very safe environment, learning the skills that those young people will need for the next 20 or 30 years. And there is no better armed forces in the world than the British Army at logistics, and we're very proud to have them based here in Wiltshire. So I reach out to everybody. If you know somebody who is willing to volunteer to be a cadet leader, please help us. Finally, then, the Local Enterprise Partnership, I've said it already, is not me. It's not the team within the executive of the Enterprise Partnership. It is you. It is everybody across our entire region picking up the phone, having a coffee morning, meeting at a village hall, getting engaged in council meetings, getting engaged in your federations and your trade associations and your guilds. Come and talk to us. We're going to host another conference here at this wonderful business cyber centre in Chippenham, and I look forward to welcoming you all. If I may, then I will close with a call to action as per last year. You are doing business brilliantly. Please share your stories with us all through your videos, your case studies, and more importantly, let's get together and share a tea and a cake here in our wonderful region of Swindon and Wiltshire.